Hi everyone, this is day 13 of my quarantine distraction videos. I'm in my home studio right now, but this one was shot in my school ceramics room, and I shot it the day that we were told that we weren't coming back, for a few weeks. So it was a cold, chilly day. I did not shoot it today. I shot it a couple of weeks ago. This video is on how to grind the bottom of a pot. I'm specifically showing my students the process that we use in our ceramic studio. When I'm at home, I do a little bit of a different way of grinding, and I'll show you all that in a different video sometime. But this involves using a bench grinder, a stilt stone, sometimes an angle grinder, but again, that's another video because I don't have the kids use the angle grinder themselves. I do that for them. But this shows them the basics, and then of course eye protection and dust masks. So those links I'll put in the Google Doc in the video description. You can see the different things that I use. If you're interested in checking those out, feel free. So shoot me any questions that you might have, and stay safe, stay healthy, and keep potting. So this video is going to address how to remove a patty where maybe the glaze has run, and how you can grind off the residual sharp edges after the patty is removed. Now, in some cases, if it's just a slight amount, say like this little guy, that's going to be an easy thing to remove with the grinder. This one, because it's so big, I might end up by creating a little bit more damage to the pot, and the pot might not be salvageable. But I'm going to show you some tricks to hopefully make it work a little bit better for you. Now, just remember that eye protection is one of the key things. Students, you must always use the eye protection to do this. There are goggles that hang in a bag at the front of the room, and you wash the goggles off with the Clorox wipes when you're done before you return them. And it's recommended that you get a friend, so both you and your friend should be using the goggles. And then you're going to need the chisel, and you're going to need the hammer. Okay. Now, if you have a friend that helps you, this is the most beneficial thing. I am, by the way, I'm up by my front door, and you can see I'm right over the trash can that's by the entrance door. The reason that I'm over the trash can is because I want to direct the debris to go into the trash can. Please do not do this at your tables. You don't want to end up by creating sharp little shards of glass, basically. So because I don't have a partner here with me, I'm going to be doing it by myself. So I'm going to be directing the pieces downward into the trash can. So I'm putting the chisel right near the foot of the pot, and I'm going to just gently tap, tap, oh, and there goes that foot. So this one is toast, unfortunately. I was afraid that might happen. So if that's the case, we'll just chalk it up to experience. I would recommend that we take this. I will put this in a box, not directly in the trash can, because this is just sharp enough. I do not want our custodian to get injured. So I'll set that to the side, and I will save that. Meanwhile, let's try this one. This one, I'm not holding out a lot of hope for it, but I'm going to do the same sort of thing. Start near the bottom, just gently start tapping, and I lost a little bit of the foot, not a ton. This glaze really stuck badly though. I just put it down way too far. Oop. And that one is pretty much toast too. All right, chalk it up to experience. Two bad ones. But you know what? I had at least 20 good ones come out of that kiln load. Two bad ones isn't terrible, especially when I was experimenting a little bit. Okay, so I'll box these up. These will not go into the trash can. This one I can probably just grind. I might be there. I'll just knock a little bit of that off. So some of the sharp glaze just came off of there, and then I'll just grind the rest of it. Now I'd like to show you how to do the grinder. The grinder is located on the grinding station that's out by my patio door. I have a little portable grinding station. It's a little cart that has a couple wheels on it. You want to pull it out on the patio, either have someone hold the door or prop the door open, and you want to orient it so you can plug it in to the outlet that's just beside the door there. Now, the grinding station has a number of things that you're going to need. First of all, there's a bag of goggles on the grinding station. You want to wear the eye protection. There is a bag of clean dust masks. You're going to wear one and do not return it. Once you wear it, we are going to be getting rid of it. And the grinder is situated up on the top. Now down lower, I do have an angle grinder. If you have something else that needs to be ground that we can't get with that, I'll show that in a different video, like if someone has a plate bottom that's broader. Do shut the door before you start the grinding process. Make sure you're wearing the dust mask and the goggles. Now, when you turn on the grinder, I'm going to show you here, the grinding wheels are rotating in the direction of that arrow. So it's rotating towards you and rotating down. There are tool rests right there that you can use to put your pot on. Please note that I have bolts that are anchored to the grinding station, but the grinder itself is not anchored. It's just sitting on there so the grinder can be removed so the table underneath it can be cleaned. Now, there's that really sharp spot of glaze where it ran. I am going to position it. I can lean it on the tool rest and I position it so the wheel is always pointing toward the bottom of the pot. Okay, you always want the wheel to be grinding down toward the bottom. You do not want the wheel to be grinding up the side of the pot. If it grinds up the side of the pot, and here's my next bowl that needs to be ground. So again, sorry, I am grinding so that this one I was just grinding flat on the bottom, but you always want to grind it in a manner that it doesn't grind up the side of the pot. It's more inclined to make it chip. And you can see it's a very messy endeavor. That's why we do this outside on the patio. I don't want to get the dust and the debris in my classroom. And there's my last one. That actually has a piece of patty stuck on it. It doesn't matter which wheel you use. I just wanted to show both wheels because I have the same grit wheel on them. Now you may have noticed that the patty kind of flew off there as I was grinding that little tiny piece. It wasn't held on by much. But you want to grind it to make sure that you're getting all of the stuff off of there. Turn off the wheel when you're done. And you can check to see if it's actually smooth. Do be careful though, because it can get hot. You want to make sure that you have nothing that's sharp or rough. When you're done, bring the grinding station back in and take the prop out of the door if you had it propped. It just stays back near the door, so it's easy access to take out. Then you want to take a Clorox wipe, which they are typically stored on the little cart there. And you want to sanitize the goggles, the glasses, because the next person that wears them, we want them to be totally clean. So sanitize the lenses, the nose piece, and the earpiece, please. And then those go back into the goggle bag after they're sanitized. Now the dust mask is not going to get reused. There's no way to sanitize that. So the dust mask, throw away. I did want to mention the importance of following the safety guidelines. These are hanging on the side of the grinding station. So the rule number 1, okay, if you have loose hair, like girls with long hair or something, please pull it back into a ponytail. Secure loose clothing. You don't want anything dangling like sleeves or scarves that would get into it. Always wear the goggles. Break off the patties with a hammer and chisel. As I showed previously, be careful when you do that because you can slice your finger. It's like cut glass. Take the grinding station outside, put on the dust mask, zip the baggies with the goggles and the mask to keep from getting dirty. When you're ready to grind, note which direction the grinding wheel is turning, because you always want to grind down toward the bottom of the wheel, which is number 8 there. Grind downward. If you grind upward, it tends to chip upward a little bit more. 9, it says don't touch the freshly ground areas. It is hot, so give it a little bit before you test it. Obviously, 10, do not touch the spinning grinding wheel. Number 11, you can use a small stilt stone, which I'll show that to you in just a second. See me if you have areas that the grinder won't reach, because I do have an angle grinder. Like if you have a plate where you have a patty stuck in the middle of the bottom of the plate, we can use the angle grinder. Bring the grinding station back into the classroom like I did, and clean up the goggles and return to the bag, and you may discard the dust mask. And again, this is on the grinding station. It hangs on the side of it. So I wanted to show you the use of a stilt stone. A stilt stone is just an abrasive stone. There are some small ones, big ones, but I keep them in this tiny coil pot up at the front counter. And they are a good thing to go over the bottom of your pots. So in the case of this one, where I did grind it, it is smooth there, but when I feel around the foot ring, I might have some grog, which has created a raised or rough area. You don't want anything that's rough at all on the surface. So if you are rather aggressive taking a stilt stone over it, you can make that a lot smoother, so it's not going to scratch your table or scratch your countertop. And I've muted the sound on this because it is just a really horrible grating sound. So just double check, and once you've done that, then you want to rinse it off to get the rest of the dust off, because it is very dusty. And then I'll do that on the others. Even in the area where you have ground it, like right there on that edge where it's been ground, you'll want to go over that with the stilt stone. That'll just smooth it out the rest of the way. Now, I will have another video on how I do this at home, because at school I have more or less the general techniques for grinding. At home I use a few other items. I'll do that in a completely different video though. This one is more intended for my students at school, for the materials that we have that they will be using. Even the angle grinder, if we use that on like a large plate, I will pretty much do that for them. So those pots have a ground bottom now, and they're smooth, and they are ready for use.